Hello everyone, I'm Dilly G and with me is Choice Plays and we are welcoming you to the Retake Week 22 where we'll be taking a journey through all of the Valorant Sunday Showdown action from last week.
That is absolutely correct. We're here to get you caught up on any of the action from last week that you might have missed. And before we jump on in though, we want to remind you to follow us on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Vanguard Championship. That's where we hold every single Sunday the Valorant Sunday Showdown live, and you don't want to miss that because in the chat you have a chance to win our Red Bull Solo Queue Care Package giveaway. And that's going to get you some Red Bull swag and some delicious Red Bull to keep you going and keep you gaming.
Absolutely. You guys don't want to miss out on that. All you have to do is type !Red Bull into our Twitch chat anytime the Valorant Sunday Showdown is live. You'll automatically be entered into that giveaway, and good luck to everyone. Hope you win.
Yeah, super easy. Congratulations to the Matador for winning last week's. But now let's move on into the top 8 of last week's Valorant Sunday Showdown. And for the top 8 on stream, we saw Blitz up against Ego Boys Club. And this was the second week in a row that Ego Boys made their way into top 8. And the second time in a row that they were thwarted, this time falling to Blitz 13-9.
Yeah, I mean, despite that, shout out to Blitz. Their Jet Opera Craig H putting on a really strong performance. But looking further down the bracket, we did also see Mystify up against Shiba in the semifinals on stream.
Yeah, and Mystify is a team that needs no introduction. The stellar roster featuring Zypher and Iconic has been a force to be reckoned with here in the Valorant Sunday Showdown, that's for sure. But Shiba, on the other hand, kind of flew under our radar up until this point. They scored themselves a top 4 placement in Week 21 off-stream and made their way back to semifinals for the second week in a row.
Yeah, congratulations to Shiba. Really impressive back-to-back Valorant Sunday Showdown performances from them. This match was a real thriller, but Shiba stayed strong and eventually won out 13-9 over the once reigning Valorant Sunday champions, Mystify. And Shiba would move on to the grand finals where they would meet their K9 counterparts, the Wichita Wolves.
Love that. And with that, we are moving on to the grand finals featuring Shiba up against the Wichita Wolves. As he said, Wichita Wolves looking very impressive in their first ever VSS entry.
Yeah, definitely an impressive start to their VSS careers for this roster. The Wichita Wolves featuring Jangler, the Panda Tank, Figure, Zekin, and last but certainly not least, Super Turbo.
Oh yeah, shout out to Super Turbo, quickly becoming one of our favorite names to say. But in their way was the roster of Shiba, a talented lineup with Zambi, Bankroft, Sev, Chobo, and Jet Opera Cairo.
Yeah, really strong teams on both sides. Game 1 saw these two teams clash on split to start the match off, and Shiba, starting out on attack, came out to a thundering start with a swift pistol round to get themselves off to a great start.
Oh yeah, Shiba really set the pace for this game early on, with Wichita struggling to get consistent round wins. It took 10 rounds to go by before we really saw Wichita show us what they're made of, and they completely shut down the attack from Shiba off the back of some really explosive Raze gameplay from Jangler.
Yeah, Jangler showed up big, and as we see so often in the VSS, his big play for Wichita did give them the confidence to go and get another round win. Wichita, despite a shaky start to the first half, got themselves to a much more manageable 5-7 score going into the second half.
Yeah, but now Shiba switching to defense. We're seemingly not impressed with the Wichita Wolves, however, and started off the second half in a big way with Sev leading the charge and Bankroft not too far behind.
Yeah, no doubt about that. We were really excited to see Bankroft on Viper, especially on defense. And while Bankroft was undoubtedly impressive on this map, in my opinion, Sev was the star of this map, making big plays left and right, playing really impressively on the Omen.
Yeah, no kidding. The combo of Sev and Bankroft proved to be too much for the Wolves to handle, as Shiba took 6 rounds in a row in the second half to wrap up Game 1 with a dominant 13-5 scoreline.
That win for Shiba moves us along to Game 2 on Haven, which was Wichita's pick, as Shiba had picked the first map. So this really was Wichita's opportunity to turn things around after a ghastly Game 1.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to fight Shiba on split. Obviously, they were looking really buff on that map. But now, Wichita Wolves were really on the back foot going into Game 2, and Shiba did not relent at the start of Game 2 with an impressive retake to stunt the attack from Wichita.
Yeah, Shiba really kept up the pressure, and you can tell this team was really starting to find their stride. Chobo got themselves a really big 3K to close out round 2. The woes really continued for Wichita Wolves.
Yeah, and Shiba were playing very smoothly, moving around the map with ease, not giving any advantages over to Wichita. And Wichita, in comparison, looked a bit lost as they tried to find a way through Shiba's defense.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Shiba took 6 rounds in a row before Wichita could find their first. Wichita tried to claw their way back into contention, but Shiba only let them get 2 rounds before once again extending their lead, and Shiba would close out that first half 9-3.
Oof, a dominant defensive performance on Haven from Shiba, and on Wichita's map pick, we cannot say enough about how impressive Shiba was last week. The second half followed the template of the first, Wichita showing at times that they are to be taken seriously, but Shiba cruising through the match regardless.
Yeah, I definitely want to give a shout out to Sev on Shiba, as I did in Game 1. They played really, really well throughout all of Grand Finals. Not just playing well, but playing very smartly with tempered aggression. Sev was a major force for Shiba.
Yes, Sev was so much fun to watch, honestly. However, Bankroft was not to be outdone by Sev, finding countless multi-kills in the second half, really showing the extent to which Cypher can excel on both attack and defense.
Undoubtedly so, but Bancroft would go on to secure his spot as the HyperX MVP of the match as Shiba closed this one out in Game 2, 13-6.
Yeah, GG's to Shiba, and congratulations on your first VSS title. We took some time to sit down with Bancroft from Shiba to get some insight on how it all came together for the Sheebs on Sunday. Yo, and we just wanted to say welcome, Bancroft, to the Retake. Thank you so much for joining us, our HyperX MVP award from last week's Valorant Sunday Showdown. How you doing, Bancroft?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, excellent to kind of see you there, Bancroft, or at least see what we saw from you in Week 22 of the Valorant Sunday Showdown, which was excellent Cypher play along with that Viper. But first things first, Week 22 was the second week that your team Shiba had entered the Valorant Sunday Showdown, and we wanted to ask, how did this roster get together? How was Shiba formed?
So when I joined the team, I was the 5th. They had been looking for a 5th for a while now, and the original 4 had actually known each other for years prior.
Oh wow!
Nice. I don't think they ever all played on a team together, but they played a lot of Counter-Strike and kind of mixed. So like 2 were playing with 1 there, and it's like they basically all knew each other beforehand.
Right.
And they had been looking for a 5th for a long time, and I actually met them in a solo queue match.
Oh wow!
A rated solo queue match. I met them, and I'm like, oh, I like playing with these guys. And we just kept playing, and eventually got to the point where they still couldn't find a solid 5th, and they just offered me a spot on the team.
Wow, that's, a miracle story, I've got to say. What a lucky solo queue match that was.
Yeah, seriously, and now you're the MVP, the HyperX MVP from last week, so that's fantastic news, honestly. So now taking a look back to last week's VSS, your team went up against Mystify in the semifinals, and we noticed you guys 4 spot in the second round. Was that necessarily like a read of Mystify themselves, or just kind of like a spur of the moment thing?
It was less about Mystify and more about, we noticed a lot of teams, especially if they had a Jet Opper, would save and have a Ghost on their second round. So if we have a bomb plant, we'd have about 2,200, and we found that we could literally buy full armor and like 5 stingers and just explode onto a site and overwhelm usually a player, maybe 1 Spectre, a Ghost, but they couldn't like stop that push with just what they had.
Yeah, it certainly paid off for you guys. You guys eventually taking that big victory over the once reigning Valorant Sunday Showdown champions, Mystify. Was that a really big moment for you guys to beat Mystify, or was that just sort of business as usual for you guys?
I think the way we see Mystify is they're of similar skill level. So it's not like we're upsetting a top tier team or like beating like a tier 1 team and such. It's more about we know it was going to be a close game, and it's just about like edging out those close rounds and having a bit of a read on how they play, but mainly just like winning the clutches, making sure we just play properly, and we knew we could win it.
Well, that obviously paid off for you guys. Now we'd like to ask about your agent selection in the grand finals. You picked my favorite agent, the Viper, for game one on a sorry, not Ascent, but Split. Yes, I couldn't think of it there for a second. Is that just like an Outcast agent selection, like on just Split, or have you been kind of practicing with her on other maps?
So I've personally spent time with Viper in every map, and been trying to learn her. We haven't, as a team, tried to implement her on other maps aside from Split, mainly because we're more focused on the fundamentals of the map rather than messing with the compositions and like trying to figure out clever ways of utilizing Viper. I see her viability on Ascent and Bind. Haven, not so much, because it's just the way the map's laid out. It's awkward using Viper, I guess. I don't know how to put it, but yeah.
No, yeah, I could definitely see that being the case. It definitely seems that she's very situational for, every team attempting to pick her up. But I have to say that's really reassuring news for us hearing you're working her into the rotation. That's awesome news moving forward. And once again, Bankroft, I just want to say a really big thank you for taking the time to sit down with us here today. Last question I have here for you. What does the future look like for the Sheebs?
We, as far as I know, we all plan on sticking together and like eventually trying to grind it out and make it into the tier 1 scene. I think the only way the roster would split up is if some unforeseen something happened to players, or someone got a really an irrefusable offer to a tier 1 team.
Sure.
But aside from that, we do plan on sticking together.
Excellent. Well, again, great news for us here at the Valorant Sunday Showdown. Congratulations is in order for your guys' first ever VSS title there, and we really hope to see you guys next week.
Yep, thank you.
A big shout out there to Bankroft. Thank you so much for sitting down, taking the time to share your thoughts with us. We really hope to see him and the Shibas back for week 23 to see if they could be the first ever team to take back-to-back Valorant Sunday Showdown titles.
For sure, VSS champions. We want to also take a look at some of the most recent roster changes that have been happening for some of the teams that have been in the top of the VSS brackets recently. Firstly, let's take a look at the newly formed Noble roster. Noble, the organization, recently acquired Lemonade Stand, as a lot of you guys know, a VSS championship winning team that features the likes of JMO, FGB, Tetra, and now former VSS champion and HyperX MVP winner Tidy is now joining the ranks.
Yeah, congratulations to both Noble and to Tidy. Congrats to Tidy for finding a roster of similarly skilled teammates, but also congratulations to Noble. You guys have got yourselves a great pickup in the form of Tidy.
Oh yeah, for sure. But with that being said, this team is still on the lookout for their 5th member. Judging by their socials, it looks like they're in need of a Cypher and IGL in-game leader to fully round out that squad. So we'll be keeping our eyes open for any news on that front.
Yeah, definitely can't wait to see Noble finally in action. These guys deserve nothing but the best. Taking a look at other notable roster changes, we've also seen Elevate complete their 5-man roster, though we are waiting with bated breath to find out exactly who all made the cut.
Yeah, I can't wait to see who will join KP on that Elevate roster, who have also added a coach and a manager to their Valorant ranks. They looked poised to make the leap from Tier 2 to Tier 1 if they've got the right pieces in place. And I did see a tweet from Duck recently, who was a former HyperX MVP winner of the Valorant Sunday Showdown. He did the little signing GIF around the same time they launched this, or at least announced it. So,
you don't mean to insinuate. We're just saying,
yeah.
Maybe Noble Duck, maybe Noble someone else. Or excuse me, Elevate. Maybe Elevate Duck, maybe Elevate someone else. We really won't know for sure until we get all the information there. Yeah. Definitely looking forward to seeing both Noble and Elevate at full strength, competing with their full rosters. But in the meantime, before that, let's take a quick look ahead to Week 23.
Yes, indeed. Taking a look at the early bird registrants for Week 23, we have VSS Powerhouse's Aura United making their way back, as well as DGen Flow State, a VSS favorite for sure, coming back to try and secure their second ever VSS title.
Yeah, really excited to see Flow State back in the mix of things. Looking a bit further down the list, we also have Blitz, who we spoke about a bit earlier, making a return to the Valorant Sunday Showdown. They were just one game away from Grand Finals last week, stopped in their tracks by the Wichita Wolves. So let's see if they can take that next step there in Week 23. We'll also be keeping a close eye on Serenity, who are no strangers to the upper echelons of the VSS, having been in the Grand Finals prior, but not getting themselves that first title just yet.
Yeah, we'll definitely be looking on the lookout for Serenity. We want you guys to be on the lookout for us. Be sure to follow the VSS Twitter at Vanguard Champs for all things competitive Valorant. But for now, that's going to do it for us on here, The Retake. Thank you so much to Bankroft for sitting down with us this week. And thank you guys for watching. I'm Choice Plays.
I'm Dilly G.
And we'll see you next week.